Right, so the weird thing about this project was that I kind of had the final cue done before any of the others. What Josh wanted to happen was that at 3 emotional points in the movie, one at the start, one in the middle, and then one at the end, we would have this sort of evolution into what would ultimately become the final cue. And it was all based around this idea, which I hope you can hear. Okay, so that is more or less the main theme. It's just those 2 chords, very simple, C and like an F7. I wanted to have it be something quite sparse just because of the amount of dialogue in the film. It's basically just an exchange between these 2 characters, so quite spread out and sparse. Something that went through my mind as we were doing this was that like I wanted to hint at the idea of being in a convenience store. So something that I thought could be cool would be to sort of like hint at sort of like the electronic humming that happens when you walk into like a 7-Eleven or convenience store or petrol station sort of thing. You immediately hear like all of these sort of like just like buzzing sounds just from the electronics or the lights. So that's why this piano sound sounds the way it does. It's a little bit lo-fi because I'm running it through a plugin that I love by Audio Thing called Wires. Hopefully you can see it on the screen there, at least piece of it. But it's basically like a tape machine, and it just makes things sound degraded and worn, and you can add and take away like electronic hiss. Maybe let's take a listen to the final theme here. Okay, so again, just those two chords. We're sneaking some other sounds in. But trying not to be overbearing. We're remembering that there's a lot of talking going on. Okay, so that right there is about as big and as complex as it gets, which again, it's a smattering of chords played on like a janky sounding piano with some ambient pad layers swelling in as well. Just nothing with too much attack or rhythm. Again, just to stay out of the way of the characters talking. So the main ambient sample that I used was this right here, which is that's a guitar loop that has been stretched. Okay, so it was an audio file this big, and it got dragged out until it was this big. So it has this kind of slow, like almost like yawning quality to it, which I thought kind of fitted with Titus's character, being that he's kind of dragging his heels at the point that we see him enter the store. What else is interesting? This one, this kind of high-pitched one. So yeah, that happens at sort of like points of revelation, I suppose. Just this high-pitched sort of thing. It reminded me, it had like a sort of like heavenly quality to it. I wanted to kind of like signal the fact that things were getting better for him. And again, that's like a guitar that's been manipulated in a bunch of different ways. Yet another guitar that's been stretched. That harkens all the way back to the first cue. That's when we first hear those sounds, but they pop up again. You'll notice the piano is not as present in that opening cue. It's because we wanted this slow evolution of the theme. Let's go to the next little bit here.
Really? Yeah, and great.
All right, so we're getting more of the theme there as they're opening up to one another. You know, their relationship dictates how together the music is at any given point. So this is where we're getting the characters coming together, and so we're getting more structure. And then if we move along to the next one, okay, cool. Yeah, all right, that's interesting. So the next part is when we're starting to get like a little bit of like past darkness creep into the story. So I wanted something with a bit more heft, and how I've done that is I've got these clean drones here, which are sort of like just synthesizer drones. Okay, very weighty sounding, but because there's not a lot of high-end information, they're not stepping all over the dialogue. So you can have this kind of bigger sound, but it's still out of the way. This piano sound is part of Spitfire Audio Labs. They're free instruments. The collection is called Opia, and this sample is called Granular Piano. And what it is you're just hearing like the first and fifth note in a scale just bouncing back and forth between the left and right speaker. I use it a lot just because it's a way that we can hint at having some kind of rhythmic element, this repetitive driving thing happening, without, you know, outright putting like drums or percussion in there. Yeah, and that more or less leads us into the final cue. So it's a very simple score. There's not a lot to it. Like I said, it's basically that one idea, which is what we're listening to right now, the final cue, that has been sort of like stripped back as we've gone backwards in the story. That to me is like kind of an interesting storytelling device, and I'm probably going to try to do it again at some point. So yeah, I hoped you enjoyed this journey into my brain and Josh's brain, and yeah, thank you very much for watching.